I hereby call this meeting to order. It is now March 17th, 6 p.m. The Justice Center located at 3300 Hillcrest Drive, Balcones Heights, Texas, at which time the following subjects will be discussed to it. Citizens to be heard, rules for citizens, citizens' participation at the comments are welcome subject to the following rules. Please complete a registration form. Please direct your comments to the Planning and Zoning Board, not to an employee or to the audience. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes, but the time of another speaker may be given for a total of 6 minutes if approved by the commission. End your speaking at the allotted time. Placards, banners, or any type of signs are permitted in the city council chambers. Your signature indicates that you will adhere to public comments rules. Any citizen may speak on any topic they wish to bring to the attention of the governing body. The commission will not deliberate on any item not on the agenda. The commission may, 1, make statement of fact regarding the item. 2, state any city policy related to the item. Or 3, propose to place the item on a further agenda.
There is no one that signed up to speak, but could you, for the record, please affirm the quorum?
Yes. As of right now, we do have a full quorum. At this moment, we would like to see if consent to the agenda, the minutes for February 17th. It's actually for the 17th, yes, there's a mistype. For February 17th, 2026. Do I hear somebody approve the minutes, or was there further discussion on those minutes?
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
I second, Jay.
We have a second. The minutes are approved. Next, a discussion and staff.
Any discussion?
Yeah, is there any discussion? Comments?
Hearing no discussion, you can call for a vote.
Okay. No discussion, so call for a vote.
Aye. Sorry.
All members approve?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? The ayes have it. Next item on the agenda is business items. Discuss the staff direction on amending the city code ordinance, chapter 153, zoning codes, article 12 for the sign and advertisement devices. 2, discussion.
Yeah,
Okay.
one at a time.
Yeah. The discussion for chapter 153 zoning codes, article 12, sign and advertisement devices. It's open for discussion.
Presentation first.
Okay, great. So, yeah, we'll first talk about the signage. If you can go down a slide, please. Just as a reminder from last meeting, we spoke about temporary signage and its limitations on businesses here currently and what they can advertise. We talked about setbacks, providing more leniency on those setbacks for visibility. I believe currently it's 15 feet, so trying to make that a little bit more approachable, more visible as you're traveling down roadways. Extending time limitations was another topic that we spoke about. Height being a consideration as well, as right now it's about 4 feet is the typical temporary signage that we allow, and the usage of the same sign throughout the year. Right now, as it stands, it's at 30 days. After those 30 days, you have to apply for a new permit. Once you've taken down the sign for 2 weeks, and then you have to display a different text or display of signage once you reopen that permit. Scroll down, please. Here's what I've collected from y'all's direction last meeting. First, you'll see the amendments that I'm proposing here in green. Scroll down, please. First, we're going to have properties fronting collectors is not something that's currently in the ordinance. So we'll have 8 square feet per face or 5% of the building facade, whichever is smaller. Maximum height, same thing. We need to make sure that these properties fronting collectors are addressed. We've also increased the size on Hillcrest District, minor arterials, major arterials, and limited access highways. Just to go through, limited access highways are going to be anything fronting I-10. Major arterials, you can think of Fredericksburg. Minor is going to be Balcones Heights Road. Hillcrest District is your O1 zone properties along Hillcrest. And fronting collectors is going to be Gentleman Road. So those typical businesses that we see on Gentleman Road requesting these temporary signages are going to be the apartments all along Hillcrest, or I'm sorry, along Gentleman Road, which currently, if they were to apply, we can't grant them any temporary signage permit because they're not classified within the ordinance. Scroll down, please, a little bit, right there. So minimum setback, whatever is crossed out is what's currently in place. And again, green highlighted text is the proposed amendment there. So from 15 feet, we'll go down to 10 feet on setbacks of any property line. This is front, rear, side, whatever it may be, wherever you want to display this temporary signage. We've crossed out most of the time limitations here. So text of any one sign may not be displayed more than 30 days. We've upped this to 90 days per calendar year. And then there's not really a waiting period of 14 days once you've concluded that permit. Scroll down a little more, please. We've also included G as an addition here. Temporary signs shall be well maintained throughout the time they are displayed. This is something that's common probably in my area of San Antonio. I see a lot of temporary signs displayed, but you'll see a banner that's been out there for 3 years, right? Faded, torn up from the wind, just sun damage, right? We want to make sure that we're giving our code compliance the capacity to make sure that these signs are not staying out there past its lifespan, right? So this will give us more power to make sure that we're having good, structurally sound and good business attracting signs within the community here. Scroll down, please. As y'all mentioned, y'all wanted to look at the Alamo Heights temporary signage ordinance. This is what it currently states. It is similar to what's currently in place for the city right now. It's kind of strict. So one sign, we're making sure it's at 30 days. Pretty similar language here. 180 days maximum throughout the year. Text cannot remain the same. 4 feet in height, 8 depending on where it may be, right? Scroll down one more. This is the last slide for this first part here. This is just a reference to what those thoroughfare classifications were that I mentioned earlier. Limited access highways, major arterials, minor collectors, and the Hillcrest Zone District. Sorry. Can you go back up to the amendments, please? Any questions on anything proposed right now?
I don't have any questions. Anybody have any questions? I believe that what you have outlined here is excellent. From my perspective, as long as what we're trying to do is beautify the city and then it look like it's a rundown or forgotten about property, this is excellent. Anybody, any comments?
Can I be recognized?
Yes, please.
Just one quick question on the height of the temporary signage. If it's a flutter flag type, when I was looking at it, the smallest I saw was a 5.5 foot, but that's on top of the pole already, so it's more like a 7 foot. Would that be, would we consider the height just of the flag itself or the total height of the entire?
When I receive applications currently, we include the pole as part of that, but really it should only be the size of the flag. So we can take into account just the size of the flag without the actual mounting piece and leave it as it is. If we want to ensure that the pole is part of it, we can up this by a foot, all along there. That way all feather flags are accommodated.
Yeah, that's my only concern is if somebody's having to special order something to come right in within that 6 foot versus taking it to 8 foot and then the pole is included and all that's not an issue. But if you're not including the pole, then I don't see an issue with it at all.
Yeah, we won't include the bowl with any incoming applications.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Good. Go ahead. Any,
Oh, no,
any other questions,
No,
comments? Okay,
I'll bring this back up next meeting next month. It'll go to public hearing here. That way we can start proposing these amendments to city council.
excellent. Now continue to the discussion. We'll now continue to discussion number 2 and staff direction on amending the city codes ordinance, chapter 153, zoning codes, article 4, design and form standards.
Okay, so we spoke about this. It's not going to be that long of a topic here. The green text is where I'm proposing that we add in the shipping cargo containers that we spoke about last meeting. Again, this ordinance is just here for screening of that material, right? Making sure that it's not visible from right of ways or any abutting properties there. That way it doesn't disturb any neighbors, right? Making sure that we're not enforcing, but including beautification as part of our city plan, which it currently is. Down one slide, please. Again, green text is where we're posting adding it. Just to highlight the landscaping on 3, I know we had talked about having an amendment in there talking about not irrigating artificial turf. It's not really applicable to this ordinance because this landscaping is going to be trees and hedges because it's those buffers and screening that's going to be covering mechanical equipment or car containers, anything like that. So I don't feel like it needs to be included because it's not a landscaping item that will screen or buffer anything, right? It's just those tall greenery items.
I agree.
So y'all can go ahead with discussion or if you have any questions, but if y'all are good with this, I'll go ahead and add this in again for another amendment next month.
Anybody have any comments or add on to this? Anybody in agreement?
I own the agreement, yes.
Same. I'm in agreement.
Agreement, okay. We take a vote? No, we don't need a vote, okay.
I'm understanding the direction as we're going to bring this up
Yes,
next
we're
month
going to bring this up, yes.
for amendment.
As,
Okay.
as it's written, this is what we were looking for.
Right.
Exactly what we were looking for. Great job. Thank you. Discussion number 3 is to provide staff direction on amending the city codes ordinance, chapter 153, zoning codes, article 1, general provisions, amending definitions.
Great. Okay. So we spoke about last month about data centers and having this included in our definitions just so we can make sure that once they start coming in, if they do start coming in, we have the ability to place them in specified zoning districts, right? If it's not identified in there, they have to go through a special use permit. And then it's up to y'all and to city council on a case by case basis. But once we start defining these items, we can either make sure it's easier or harder for them to come in and kind of mitigate what businesses we're allowing in here, right? So we've had some interest from cannabis shops coming into the community. So I felt like it was important for us to start defining these as they start coming in and looking at these properties. How the ordinance reads right now is they would go under retail, which is allowed many different places within the city right now. It's allowed within C1, C2, MXD. Most of the city is allowed retail type uses, and that's where these would fall. Scroll down, please. So as we start looking at vape shops, cannabis shops, smoke shops, there's quite a few definitions. I provided you all with some from Costa City of San Antonio, Liberty Hill, other cities around Texas that have started defining these items and started not making it stricter, but again, making sure that they can place them in different zoning designations that they feel would fit the community best. I don't want to go through and read them all, but I feel like Liberty Hill is a community up by Austin. They've defined vape shops. Scroll down, please. One more. they've also defined cannabis related business here. The direction I'm looking for here, one more, Roy, one more. Last slide, last slide, last slide. Thank you. The direction I'm kind of looking for here is how we want to kind of classify this, right? Or if we do want to classify it, because it's up to y'all's discretion. But cities either kind of have things as vape shop or they have things as cannabis, hemp, or CBD separated. A lot of those smoke shop definitions that you're going to see is kind of tying everything together, right? It's going to address smoking, hookah lounges, vape shops, cannabis, hemp, and they all just kind of have everything in kind of one definition. Now, if we want to separate those items into multiple definitions and be more lenient on some types of businesses and more strict on others, then we should probably look at having one definition for vape shop, one definition for cannabis, hemp, or CBD, another one for tobacco, and kind of how we want to address it from there. But I just need to know kind of what direction and how we want to start proposing these items going forward. If y'all have read through them as well, and you've seen definitions that y'all like or points that you want to incorporate into our ordinance, please let me know so I can take that as a reference.
Okay. As far as I'm concerned, they should be the three should be separated for the simple reason that we need to know exactly which direction they're going and be able to modify if we need to, because it would be, in my opinion, it would be a little bit harder to control all of it in one. So it would have to be individual so we can have better control. If one gets out of line, then we need to make sure that we can restrict it or be involved in what they're doing. And per the three, smoke shop, cannabis, hemp, vape shop, I think they should be in but welcome to your input.
Is there a study that what the state requires?
State doesn't require us to define anything, or I guess a minimum amount of legality for what the type of business may be. I think COSA, City of San Antonio, has done a good job of requiring them to be part of different breathe programs, which kind of mitigates what they're allowed to do indoors. I can present a little more material next time.
Well, maybe we need a study as to what the state is thinking. Aren't they like
Well,
coming down on some of these CBD?
They do. To give a little more clarity on the business that did approach the city, right? It falls under medical use, so it's not a dispensary, one that you would see in Colorado or California, right?
Right.
It's one that you require prescription. There's very strict regulations on it. They're more classified as a pharmacy more than a retail space, but any state regulation is going to supersede what the city has.
Right.
Yep.
That's what I was thinking.
So pretty much, we're going to be doing some type of definition for one versus the other one versus the other one. So we don't want to mix it all up because it just creates a cluster. So we want to be able to control what's coming in, and then he will let us know, okay, this is within legal means, we can do this or we can't do that.
This isn't business regulations by any means. It's just defining, and then once we get through that, then we can start looking at regulations for the actual business, or where we're going to place them if we allow them in the community.
Mr. Chairman, can I be recognized?
Yes, but go ahead.
Thank you. I agree that the definition should be separate. I think individual definitions is a good thing. I also wanted to ask, some of these have regulations as far as footage from schools and housing. Is that something that we would want to include in the definitions of all smoke shops? You know, we don't want them next to a school. We don't want them just like any other paraphernalia shop that we wouldn't want kids to have easy access to. My other quick question was if we separate out vape shop and smoke shop, does that mean if a place that primarily sells cigars also happens to have vapes, then it's classified as a vape shop? Or should those two just be combined to cover, as long as they're not cannabis sales, can they be combined to make it more streamlined?
There's a few definitions I don't think that I included on this one. It defines vape shop as a percentage of sales throughout the year or through your fiscal year, or a percentage of your square footage that you're advertising those types of products. So I don't think those have them in there, but we can adopt something similar to if a cigar store were to come in and 20% of the storage is dedicated to vaping products, it would still be classified as a smoke shop, right? It's just, again, what direction we want to start placing these definitions in.
Thank you.
Would at some point, they would still be required to get a permit for all three, if they sold all three, correct?
We would classify them under one definition, what they fall under the most.
Okay. So I guess our rules and regulations would have to separate it in percentages of their business. Which one would be the higher percentage? Like say the smoke shop was 60%, the other one was 20 and 20. Is that how, my understanding?
We
is that
can
how you
start
would do that?
separating that way. I don't frequently see businesses dipping into one or the other, right? Or multiple products, right? If they're selling cannabis or hemp, more than likely they're also selling vape products, yes, but they're always selling more of one item, and we would classify them under the item they're selling the most.
Okay.
Yeah.
Get it.
But we would just ask them. We don't have to define that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Can I name like one of the stores here, like the Exxon? Don't they sell vapes already?
They do, but that goes back to the percentage of what they have, right? So again, I think there's another definition I didn't include it here, where it talks about specifically, hey, if 80% of your sales comes from gasoline or convenience store item products, you're going to be classified as a gas station rather than a vape shop. So vape shops do have sections, and again, that goes back to state regulations, which we're not allowed to really regulate. But it is a gas station, not a vape shop.
That's clear. That makes sense. Any questions? Comments? Go ahead.
Can you turn on your mic, please?
Operation hours for the business, this type of business? Is there a specific time that they can be open?
From memory, because I don't have it in front of me, I believe in the retail definition, there's store hours or the amount of time you're allowed to stay open throughout the day, which is around 12 to 14 hours or 12 to 16 hours. So it can be included in the definition to operate within a certain time frame or an time amount throughout the day. But that can be adopted. I would probably add that into business regulations as opposed to the definition, though.
And is that they might have something else going on, like whatever cannabis or vape,
Yeah.
this type of operation? It's just a concern.
No, I understand. Again, just to clarify one more time, and I know we did it last meeting, these are just definitions. We're not going to allow these businesses once we start looking at these, right? As it currently stands, they either fall under retail or they fall under a special use permit that they're needed or a pharmacy, right? Once these are adopted, it doesn't automatically say, hey, you can apply for these and you can start coming in. There's still other things that we need to add into the zoning ordinance to say, hey, you're explicitly allowed to be here. So the conversation right now is preliminary, but I understand your concern. But once we start getting past the definitions and where they're going to be zoned, if we allow them to be zoned in the city, we'd start going into business regulations to make sure that we mitigate any late night hour issues, Yeah.
So at this moment, we're pretty much gathering and seeing what we come up with, and then that gets presented to the city council for approval. So, yes, valid questions.
May I be recognized?
Yes, please.
Thank you. Right now, Nick, are you just trying to we're not voting on a certain definition right now, correct? You're just trying to get information on what we kind of want the definitions to include or not include?
Guidance on where you're looking for the definition to go. If you want proximity to schools, which is something important, right? If you like one more than the other, that I can use as reference. If you don't like any of them, I can start presenting more. I just need to look for guidance. And right now, keeping them all separate is good guidance. But if there's any more input that you'll have for where you want to steer these definitions will be helpful.
The, for me, the Breenham ones with the, but that's, I'm more being drawn to it because it already has the regulations on the footage from properties, schools and such. They all have,
From Brenham?
yes, sir. They all have, good qualities. Kind of have to take a little bit of all of them, I think. I don't know.
Yes.
I do like the examples. But, does anybody else have any input on as far as having something in there for footage from schools and whatnot?
I like the smoke shop definition from Brenham. It says that they have to be 300 feet from a single family residential use and 1,000 feet from any public or private school. I think that's, but it's also identifies a smoke shop as just selling tobacco products primarily. I think if we're looking at the definition of all of this, you know, we're trying to figure out, are we going to combine them into this kind of gray area? I do think a smoke shop identifies exactly what someone's going in there for, whether it's a vape or cannabis or tobacco. But I think if we should put them all under one kind of definition, we should definitely recommend some kind of like distance from residential and schools and add that to that definition. Come up with some kind of solid, what makes everybody feel comfortable and add that to that.
As I understand, San Antonio, City of San Antonio has that pretty well anchored down as far as the
City of San Antonio right now, not to interrupt, but City of San Antonio right now only has vape shop. They're looking to adopt more definitions, but in the 2027 cycle for their Unified Development Code. So it's not adopted for cannabis or hemp or any of those other items. It's just vape shop, which is kind of a loose definition, right? So they're trying to tighten it up, but
But the vape shop does have footage as far as how close, what the closest range is for that they can set up shop. Well, if we take that and pretty much take that amount of distance and bring it up on the next meeting, that way it's consistent. If somebody that's doing business with a vape shop in San Antonio and wants to come to Balcones Heights, they already pretty much are aware of how far away they have to be from a school there. So if we do it here the same, then, you know, it'll attract businesses and they're going to know, well, I can't move in here because I'm too close to residential, I'm too close to a school. But if I try to, this area is vacant and it meets what the city of San Antonio does, it'll be the same for Balcones Heights. That's what I believe the route we should go if we can, if it meets it. So that way it's standard. So if somebody that has several shops throughout San Antonio, they're the same, then we can pretty much do the same thing here.
Are these the official definitions, like you said, from COSA and Liberty Hill? So in
they
these
are
def-
taken from their municipal codes. Yes.
So there's I'm seeing it doesn't necessarily have like a distance included, right? In the way that Brenham has done a pretty good job of identifying specifically the definition of the business and what they would like to see as far as where it can and can't be, right? And so to your point, I think that's what we're trying to establish here is that in Balcones Heights, if we're going to have such business, we need to properly identify where it can and can't be in the definition of it as well. Correct? Okay.
You can classify it in the definition, or you can classify it in business regulations.
Okay.
That might be where COSA has it defined, is in business regulations. But again, other cities have defined it in the actual zoning definitions for permitted uses, so we can do it either way.
So to my point is, I'm trying to see if we attract this business to our city. If we do it within, because we're pretty much surrounded by San Antonio. And he's got one downtown, he's got one on on Blanco Road. The same would apply if we can get a general of what they're doing, the feet away from public schools, from single family. I would like to see what those numbers are compared to see if there's space for them to move here if they do come to Balcones Heights. So there'll be the same, their focus would be the same as it is in San Antonio, not saying, oh my God, I'm gonna have to jump through loops, try to find, I'm 30 feet too short. So there goes revenue for the city.
Yeah. So I can, next month I can bring up City of San Antonio business regulations. That way there's, more guidance on what distance from schools or any public areas. Some have also provided, again, I don't think I've included it because there's a million different definitions in Texas, but some provided distance away from public areas such as parks or gathering places. We can include those or start looking at those. But I can bring more definitions on closer to this area. Yeah.
Yes, please.
How many schools do we have in Balcones Heights?
We have no schools in Balcones Heights.
One at
I'm sorry, we have St. Gregory.
St.,
Yes.
the elementary.
That's not within Balcones Heights.
That's
Okay,
But that's the distance that we would measure from.
Yeah, so we should only be worried about the single-family residence. And most companies, I believe, they would want to be on Fredericksburg Road. So. What I mean?
That is correct. But there's, I guess where we're going with this is because there's empty properties. So we want to make sure that those properties are, when they're sold, we want to be able to have multifamilies. And then you have a head shop next door. So we have to find a good balance for that.
May I be recognized?
Yes, please.
Eloy, to your point, it's not only public schools as far as the Brenham definition. It also talks about public parks, religious facilities, hospitals, daycares, and there may be more businesses like that. I'm sure there's more businesses like that in Balcones Heights to consider other than just schools. So thank you.
Any other questions, comments?
I think for the next meeting, if we could just look at what COSA's doing.
Yeah.
I really like, again, what Brenham has established. They've already defined it, 300 feet from a single family residential, 1,000 feet from all those locations that you recognized a second ago. I think if we can just compare the two and find something that works for us, Balcones Heights is a mile by a mile. And so we also have to consider that we have smaller space to work with. And so as we're also trying to attract businesses, we want to also make sure that we're keeping everything in mind, the residential properties, the religious facilities, the parks. And I think it's really going to help us narrow down where these businesses can and can't go. And it'll allow them to figure out as well where they can set up shop. We can focus on that in the next meeting.
Okay.
Cool.
May I be recognized?
Yes, please.
To build off what Santiago said, that's an excellent point. I was thinking the same thing as, maybe 1,000 feet is too much for Balcones Heights being such a small area. Also, if somebody wants to have one of these businesses off of Fredericksburg, maybe zoning should be taken into account because there's neighborhoods right behind it. How are they going to do any business when you have an apartment complex directly behind your property? And then we'd be really limiting the options for the city to bring a new business.
That's a great point. There's a washateria on Fredericksburg Road, and it has a current occupant that's a vape shop. Is that within Balcones Heights? That's in Balcones Heights, correct? Or is that in San Antonio?
I don't believe we have any vape shops. Which washateria? I think
If you're
there's two.
heading towards the McDonald's on Fredericksburg Road, it's on the right side, and it's right
Before or after McDonald's?
it's before.
Okay, then it is Balcones Heights.
Okay. There's a business there. I think it identifies as a grocery store, maybe, but it's right next door to the washateria. And I mean, it says vape and cannabis and tobacco, and they advertise all that as such. And so trying to figure out what they're currently permitted to do.
I don't know what the permitted use is for that area.
Okay.
Again, there's this, it's kind of a gray area right now. So if somebody, again, were to apply right now
Yeah.
for a vape shop, I have to approve it under retail use.
Okay.
So they might be designated as a retail use, which is permitted in MXT zoning, which is what they are.
Understood.
That was before I arrived at the city, so I'd have to look into it a little more to see what they were authorized in their certificate of occupancy. But that's my best guess is retail, retail trade.
Yeah, because that's right. As you were, to your point, it was, it's right there on Fredericksburg Road and right behind it is residential. And so just wanted to figure out what they were doing and then to kind of see. But I understand that right now it's a gray area and we're trying to actually set the parameters on
Yeah.
it. So, thank you.
Any comments, any questions? Any other information to present?
No, sir.
Additional?
No, sir.
Okay. I now call adjournment to the meeting. It is now 6:37. Any move?
You don't need a motion for adjournment? No.
Don't need. Okay, yes. We call this meeting adjourned. Thank you.